Path of Exile 2 is a poverty simulator. Okay? The longer I play that game, the more miserable I feel. Now, if you don't know, Path of Exile is what's considered an action RPG. These are games that are supposed to be fun. Tons of monsters on the screen, tons of spell effects, just clearing waves of monsters, destruction, big numbers, and then you get rewarded afterwards with tons of loots and upgrades for your character, right? It's the equivalent of sitting in front of a slot machine, pulling that handle, watching those numbers go round and round, and finally getting the big win, right? Big rush of dopamine, right? That's how these games are supposed to be. Now, Path of Exile takes that formula and just takes all of the dopamine out of it, okay? There's no dopamine. Going through the campaign in this point 2 patch, the Dawn of the Hunt season, is one of the most miserable gaming experiences I've ever had. And I only stuck with it because I kept thinking it would get better, but it never did. Now, I think the vision for the game is like this rough slog through the world, right? You're given nothing and you have to kill your way through the game and take whatever a few items drop and use them to upgrade your gear, break them down into crafting components, use those to make your gear stronger, sell them for money, like that. Kind of kill your way through the campaign and gear yourself, right? And they try to funnel or restrict the amount of loot you get, which completely kills the dopamine, right? There's no loot. There's no loot in this game. There is no loot in this game, right? There's no reward for slogging your way through the maps and killing everything. There are no drops, right? And this is where the vision, or at least what I interpret as the vision, what I am seeing as the end customer, the end user of the vision, this is what I'm experiencing, right? There's nothing there. The system doesn't work. It seems to me like they tried to put everything behind this crafting system, right? So as you go through the game, you kill monsters, crafting components drop. And as you're killing your way through, slogging through the campaign, you can use those crafting components to make your gear stronger, right? And make your gear better, make your character stronger. It's almost like a shittier version of Monster Hunter. Okay? But this entire system falls apart once you get a little further into the game and you start needing primary stat requirements, right? For pieces of armor, for spells, they need primary base stats, which you can only get mainly from armor. You get a few from your passive tree. It can take a while because you only get one every time you level. So you can get a few from your passive tree, but if you just hit like rank 9 spells, I think is one of the big ones, and you need, let's say, 50 intelligence and you only have 30. Well, you can either respec your passes, which costs gold, or you can try to get a primary stat on your armor piece or try to find a piece of armor that has that primary stat. But there is no way to find the gear that would have that primary stat. You can go to the vendor and check and spend gold and maybe gamble your gold away and try to see if you can fish out an upgrade. Or you can, I don't know, just wait and suffer and see if it ever gets better. And, you know, hope when you get a few levels here and there, maybe you get an upgrade to the primary stat and you can finally use that new spell or that new piece of equipment. But you have to wait. And to make things worse, when you first start playing, there's nothing that tells you how rare the crafting components are. For this example, I'm going to use the Exalted Orbs and the Divine Orbs, right? So last season in the 0.1 patch, right, the early access first patch, I got Exalted Orbs, and I got Divine Orbs. They dropped fairly frequently, right? I got enough to be like, oh, okay, I can use this and not feel bad about it. Well, in this 0.2 patch, I had the 0.1 patch expectations in my mind for the orbs, right? So when I first started getting those drops, you know, mid-game around level 20 or 30, and you start really feeling weak unless you have a good weapon, I would use my Exalted Orbs, the few that I got, I would use those for upgrades. And I used like 4 or 5, and then they stopped dropping. I stopped seeing Exalted Orbs completely. I've played 60 hours on this season across 2 characters. One that I got to maps, I think it's like level 70, and one that is level 40, I think, somewhere in there, the end of Act 3. And I've seen 0 Divine Orbs. Across my entire account, I've seen maybe 20 Exalted Orbs. Now, how can you have a system, right, where you're supposed to fend and craft craft your gear to keep up with the campaign and the strength of the monsters? How can you have a system like that locked behind items, crafting components that are so rare that they never drop? They never drop. It is insane to see so few crafting components over 60 hours of play. And it's like, what do? I get so tired of feeling weak. It felt like, to me, it felt like I went out and bought a car, right? At 25% interest rate, expecting I was going to get a raise at my job or have some huge fucking supplement of money come in and then just be able to pay it off. But, that raise never came. I never got a large sum of money. In fact, I got fired from my job. The game gets harder. So now I'm even more pinched for money. I need the money more now than ever, and I've already wasted it all in this Mustang that's fucking 20 years old that already broke down. It fell apart. I can't get the upgrades. I use my crafting components on weaker low level items because I didn't know any better, man. Literal poverty simulator, man. Like like it is a constant struggle through this game. You never have enough. The feeling that you never have enough permeates throughout this game. And maybe that's their vision. Maybe they want you to feel like this the entire time. But do you know what I do when I feel like I'm not getting enough, right? When I feel like I don't have enough, I go and get more. I do something to get more. Have I been poor in my life? Yes, there's been times where I've been laid off from my job and I've been poor and I've been struggling. And you know what I did? I changed my situation and went out and got more. I went from eating tuna and ramen, tuna from the can and ramen, to eating steak. And once you go back to eating steak, you're not going back to eating tuna and ramen. You're moving the fuck on with your life. You're moving on. You got no reason to go back. Maybe you feel nostalgic one day. Yeah, whatever. But you're not going to eat shit when you don't have to. And my problem was I was holding out thinking that the shit would at some point turn into filet mignon. And it never did. And so I'm just going to move on and go play Last Epoch, to be honest with you, and all these other games that are coming out. There is something good in Path of Exile 2. That's what makes me kind of sad about this. There is something in there that is really good. It's a really good game. I mean, it's not a good game right now, but it can be. The components are there. The bones are there. They just need to move things around just a lot of bit. Just a lot of bit. They just need to make loot drop. They need to bring back the dopamine. I don't know why their solution to the game or to their vision is removing the dopamine. They need to bring the dopamine back. All right. They need to give us back the dopamine. Give your players some money, some agency in the game. I hate feeling broke all the time in the game, right? Some people are broke all day and now they get into the game. They want to play for a few hours and they're broke there too. Now they're just broke everywhere, right? You can't get out the cycle. But hopefully, I'm pretty sure that Grinding Gear Games will get it together. I'm hopefully optimistic. But I guess we'll see. Either way, I'm not married to the game, but the game sucks. I'm going to say the game sucks. And right now, patch 0.2 Dawn of the Hunt season is ass. Hot trash, hot garbage. Would not recommend, and I wish I could get my 60 hours back that I spent playing this season. Just hoping it would get better, and it never did. And that's all I got for this one. Later.